So he's Sankeerth, rank 330. So first of all, I congratulate him. Why? Because now he is under a trainee at a place called as Medaram Sammaka Saraka Jatra. Very big tribal. For our anthropology, it is a tribal festival.
More relevant.
More relevant. So it's a challenge also, because COVID times, people, masses will come. So controlling the masses in COVID times is a very big task. So that is one experience you can get from Sankeerth, and apart from it, anthropology. Any doubts if you have also, you can.
I got 330 rank in 2019 UPSC examinations. So based on my rank and my category, I have been allocated Indian Police Service. I belong to 2020 batch of Indian Police Service. So now I have finished my phase 1 of training and I am undergoing district practical training. I am allotted to Mulugu district, okay. Mulugu district is, as you all know, after the formation of Telangana state, the existing 10 districts were divided into 33 districts, and Mulugu district is the recent one among them. The importance of Mulugu district is that it is sometimes called, people called, in fact demanded to name it as Sammakka Saralama Medaram district, because this Jatara, which is takes place biannually, like for every 2 years this Jatara takes place, and this is a tribal festival. But the most of the people who attend this festival are non-tribals as well. So these non-tribals are dominating in this Jatara, so we have to ensure these tribals also get significant prominence in that Jatara. So this being a tribal Jatara, and also the footfall for this Jatara is roughly around 1.2 to 1.5 crore. See, there is difference between this Jatara and Kumbh Mela. See, Kumbh Mela, it happens along the stretch of river Ganga, where a significant number of people come there. But the thing is that there is plenty of space for the people to come and take bath and all these things. But Medaram is slightly different from Kumbh Mela. This is because Medaram, the temple is at a single place, and the people, they take bath in Jampanna Vagu river and they all congregate at the temple. So it's very challenging compared to the what we call Kumbh Mela to manage the crowd in the this Jatara. So in that way we are facing challenges, but we have a proper deployment bandobast plan. So accordingly we can take care of this. So that is not why I have come here to explain about the Jatara. What you need is the strategy for the prelims 2021 and how to deal with the anthropology subject, right? So strategy is very simple. So referring to the correct material is most important. So there is plenty of material that is available in the market. So for Lakshmikant, you have for polity you have Lakshmikant, and there are some other books also. The people who has in political science as their optional, they refer a lot of books. No need of referring all those books. I suggest you to read very few books. For Indian polity, refer Lakshmikant. For history, refer NCERT books, 11th and 12th NCERTs. If you are struggling with history, I suggest you to read from 6th itself. So 6th to 12th NCERTs, but if you are confident enough, you can refer just 11th and 12th NCERTs. Apart from that, you can refer to Spectrum by Rajiv Ahir. And for art and culture, I suggest you to refer Nitin Singhania. For science and technology, refer last 2 years current affairs. And for geography, I suggest you to read 6th to 12th geography NCERTs. Plus there is this small book called G.C. Leong. Please go through that book as well. In science and technology, I suggest you to read some topics, I mean emphasize on these topics. One is genetics, 2 space technology, and 3 defense technology. Apart from that, you have to follow the Hindu newspaper rigorously. I mean, you have to religiously follow that. You have to dedicate at least 1.5 hours or 2 hours initially, but after some time you will figure it out, like which content is relevant for prelims and which content is not, so that you can eliminate some things, and so you can cover it in 1 hour. After, if you read it for like 2 months, 3 months, so it will become a habit for you to like pick the important things from the newspaper, right? So in a way, first you read from the Hindu, second you read from the Vision IAS. So in a way, Vision IAS material should be revision for you. It's not the primary source of current affairs for you. Okay, this is how you cover current affairs. So these are the sources for prelims preparation. So we are done with the first thing. For prelims, first step is identifying the proper sources. That is done now. Now the second step is like how to how to read these things. So the people may follow different strategies. One strategy is that reading one subject at a time. The other people suggest that reading 2-3 subjects in a day. Like, it's up to you. Like, both the strategies are good, but I prefer reading subject at a time. I used to finish Indian polity, then I used to read Indian history, then geography. I used to cover like this. There are some of my friends, they used to read 2 to 3 subjects simultaneously. That strategy is also good. So it's up to you, like which strategy you are comfortable in. And the third thing is, in prelims is, test papers are very important. It's up to you like which institute test series you want to write. There is no need to follow, like, what matters is like solving the test papers and evaluating the test papers. So that is more important. So how to evaluate the test papers, that is more important than giving which test series. So the strategy should be like this. After finishing Indian polity, you try to solve polity test papers and try to evaluate yourself. Like, if you are like, there are 100 questions in that paper, if you have attempted some 70 to 80, you have left some 20 to 30 questions you have left, identify the areas in which you are leaving the topics. So those topics you are not confident. So identify those topics, and also identify those areas which have committed mistakes. So those areas also you are not doing well. So in a way, try to solve the test paper, and from that test paper identify your weak areas. So Indian polity, if you are not doing well in parliament part, you identify that part and specifically read that parliament part. If you are doing faults in constitutional bodies, non-constitutional bodies, you read those bodies and try to give one more test paper, so that your weak areas will be rectified in that test paper. So this is with respect to particular test papers. So in a way, you have to follow this strategy for all the subjects. So for science and technology also, you have to read some core aspects, current affairs, and try to give science and technology test paper and see which areas you are lagging and try to plug those loopholes. So this will improve your clarity on that particular topic. So once this is done, you have to solve full length test papers. So full length test papers are must. The strategy for solving is similar. You solve that full length test paper. Out of 100, you identify from economics how many questions are there, from polity, geography, identify and see how many questions you have attempted in that particular. In polity, out of 10, how many you have attempted. Geography, out of 5, how many you have attempted. So you see that figure. How many you have committed mistake, how many you have left. So that will give clarity. So whether you are performing well in that particular subject or not. I suggest you to have an accuracy of 70% at least. That is, suppose if there are 10 questions from Indian polity, you have to get at least 7 questions correct. If you are getting only 5 questions correct, I suggest you to go back and read Indian polity again. If possible, try to solve some test papers on Indian polity. So if you are lagging behind in economics, I suggest you to read economics core topics once, some current affairs of economics once again, try to solve economic test papers, and in the next test paper you should not commit these mistakes again. So in a way, you have solved full length test paper. Out of 100 questions, you attempted 70 questions, you got 50 questions right. In a way, you left 30 questions and committed 20 questions mistakes. So from this, if you evaluate, you are lagging behind in some particular topic or particular subject, you are rectifying those things and you are giving the test again. So in the second test paper, you should not repeat the mistakes and your score has to improve in that particular subject. Suppose in Indian polity, out of 10 in the first test paper, you got 5 correct. In the second test, you should get at least 7 questions correct. So that should be your strategy of strengthening your weak areas. I think you got it. And after second test, again do the same strategy. See how many questions are appearing from each subject and how many questions you are attempting in that subject, how many questions you are committing mistake, how many questions you are leaving. So based on this, you can come to a conclusion, these are my weak subjects, these are my weak areas. You again cover those areas, you rectify those gaps and you try to give one more full length test again. So in the next test, you should not commit the mistakes that you have committed in the second test. So if your mistakes are reducing, your scores will automatically elevated, your scores. So this is the strategy to improve your scores by solving the test papers. ఒక టెస్ట్ పేపర్ సాల్వ్ చేసి మనం వీక్ ఏరియాస్ ఏమున్నాయో ఐడెంటిఫై చేసుకొని ఆ వీక్ ఏరియాస్కి సంబంధించిన మెటీరియల్ చదువుకొని నెక్స్ట్ టెస్ట్ సాల్వ్ చేసి మనం ఇంతకుముందు కమిట్ చేసిన మిస్టేక్స్ మళ్ళీ కమిట్ చేస్తున్నామా లేదా చెక్ చేసుకోవడం, మళ్ళీ ఇంకేమైనా వీక్ ఏరియాస్ ఉంటే మళ్ళీ ఆ వీక్ ఏరియాస్ కవర్ చేసుకొని నెక్స్ట్ టెస్ట్ ఇచ్చి ఈసారి ఇంకేమైనా కమిట్. ఇఫ్ యూ డూ దిస్ స్ట్రాటజీ, if you could solve 7 to 8 test papers in this manner by rectifying your weak areas test after test, your scores will automatically improve. So this is the method how you should rectify strengthen the loopholes in your preparation and increase your scores. This is the strategy. And one more thing is, like, the people commit some silly mistakes while solving the test papers. These silly mistakes are like, immediately after reading the question, by default we assume that which of the following options are correct. By default we assume that. But sometimes he may ask which of the following options are incorrect also. So I suggest you to underline that thing immediately after reading the question. So immediately after reading question, see whether he is asking for the correct ones or the incorrect ones. If you can underline that, it hardly takes 1 second or 2 seconds, but that will at least get you additional 4-5 marks for sure. 5 marks for sure, I will guarantee you this. 5 marks for sure, additional 5 marks. So this is one silly mistake that you commit. And second thing is time management. When solving the prelims test paper, the problem comes in time management. I heard so many of my friends saying that I did not have the sufficient time to read all those questions and all that. The strategy that you should follow is, like, while solving test paper, you should have some markings for each question. I suggest you to have 3 different kind of markings. Something like this, this and this. If you have attempted some question correctly, suppose this is first question, second, third, fourth, fifth. If you know this for sure, 100% sure about this question, after solving immediately you mark it like this. So if you are doubtful about this question, this is a doubtful question. If you are sure that I know nothing about this question, and if you are sure this, again doubtful this. So you should read all the 100 questions like this. After, if you are sure about this question, you immediately bubble this. If you are not completely unaware about this question, if it's a complete blinder, you leave this question completely. So you should read all the questions and you should mark the questions like this. So after finishing the 100 questions, you should read the question papers twice. Second reading, you should go for second reading. And in that second reading, you should only look at these questions, not these questions and these questions. Got it? So roughly you will be confident about some 50 questions. You are sure that 10 to 15 questions are blinders. So ultimately you are left with some 35 to 40 questions for the second reading. So you should read only these questions when you read the paper second time. So, and also if you have solved this question and you are doubtful about this question, so you use elimination method. So 50% if you are sure, you eliminated two options. If you could not eliminate other two options, if it is 50-50, then I suggest you to attempt this question. So 50% chances you will likely to get it correct. If you could eliminate only one option, that is like 33% only. So it's better leave that question. Only if it is 50-50, I suggest you to go for it. The problem is that, see, if 35 to 40 are doubtful questions. So in this 35 to 40, if you have attempted all these 40 questions, if you are getting 20 questions correct, and if you are getting 20 questions wrong, 20 into 2 is 40 marks, 20 into 2 by 3, roughly some minus 14 marks. You will get anywhere nearly 26 marks additional. So this 50 you are already getting some 100, and this 26. This is how so you should be clear like what you are doing in the exam. So this is how you have to deal with the prelims. Any doubts regarding prelims so far? So 3 things in prelims. 1, content, I mean the material that you have to refer to. 2 is like how to read those material. 3, how to rectify your loopholes. And the 4 is like how to solve the paper. These are the 4 things. If you get these 4 things correct, you can clear your prelims. See, if you ask me that way, it's not. You have to read newspapers, you have to read some material, and at the same time you have to discuss with your friends. So my friends though, or some faculty members if you are having someone, or if you can follow some online current affairs videos. If some Vishnu sir is teaching you current affairs, if you can refer those videos, if you can listen to those current affairs, you can remember more. Instead of reading, I suggest you to listen. Either some classes if you can listen to, that will be beneficial for you. Okay, and discussing with your friends also, you can like retain more and more information. One is discussion, one is listening. These 2 things you can do apart from reading. It doesn't make any difference. You can refer to anything. It can be either new or old, it doesn't matter. This is the strategy for prelims. This is what I did and I could get through prelims every time. For ancient history, don't read political part. I suggest you to read more culture part only, because they don't emphasize much on politics, like who has come after whom and all that. They won't emphasize. Suppose if it is during the Ashoka period, you read what cultural development has taken place, architecture wise, and if there is literature wise or something, you focus on that. Art and culture need to be integrated with these timelines. First you understand the chronology. If you can understand this chronology and relate what art and culture has developed in that particular period, you can be able to solve those questions. So most of the questions that I have seen are based on this chronology. They give 3-4 important art and architecture related works, and they ask us to like whose period and all these things. If you can able to do that, it will be sufficient. Emphasize more on this culture part and all that. And regarding anthro, one is syllabus. You should have clarity on syllabus. Syllabus, you already have syllabus defined by UPSC. And second thing is material. First is like classes. Second is test papers. I think you are already going through classes, I guess. So anthropology classes. This you are already doing. So this thing you have to do, test papers. The anthro test papers are more important than anything else. So classes, there are so many people who have cleared this exam without classes also. There are some people who has got an advantage because of listening to classes. So that I am not going to deal with. I am going to deal with these test papers. So even if you have content, if you could not understand the question and if you could not address that question properly in the exam, then there is no point in you having that knowledge. So there the examiner, he can't know whether you can understand the question and whether you know the subject or not. That he will come to know if you can write that properly in a systematical manner in the exam. So that you should do by solving the test papers. So personally, I have written test papers with Vishnu sir. So Vishnu sir has guided me when it comes to writing anthro answers. So the strategy that I followed is very simple. I have taken few sectional test papers. So in anthropology, you know that it has two papers, paper 1 and paper 2. And paper 1, it has biological anthropology, cultural anthropology, and the archaeological part, it comes under physical anthropology and all that. So these parts are already defined. So sectional test papers are available for all these things. I think Vishnu sir is conducting sectional tests also. So what I used to do is, I used to read my material. So I referred to Vishnu sir material 1. To Vishnu sir has got notes. I have referred that notes. And second, I prepared my notes as well. Own notes is important. For other subjects, I don't suggest you to make your notes and all that. But for anthropology, I suggest you to make your own notes as well. Apart from the class notes, you make your own notes as well. 3, refer to internet as well, based on the topics that you are covering. So these 3 things are important when it comes to have material. And test papers you join, anyway Vishnu sir is conducting test series. What you do is, if it is a sectional test paper, you first take the syllabus copy. So what is the syllabus for that particular test? You cover that syllabus and you give the test. So after giving this test, you get it evaluated by sir. So he will tell you where you are committing mistakes and all. So those mistakes you should rectify in the next test. So how to address question is that your answer should contain few things. One is theory. I mean you should connect it to theory part. So in paper 1 we have chapter 6, it deals with anthropological thought. You should be thorough with that topic. So whatever may be the question that he has asked, you should connect it with the theory part first. Second thing is the body, all people can write the body. Third thing is writing the case studies. Fourth thing is examples. Next, relevance of the topic you should write. These things should be part of your answer. You may have doubt how to connect all these things. Suppose someone has asked regarding hunting and gathering societies. You should immediately connect this with the thought. For instance, we have L.H. Morgan, classical anthropologist. So he has given this cycle, barbarianism and all that. In that he has defined how these societies have evolved over a period of time. It started from hunting and gathering and societies. So you can connect this. And also we have Fraser also. We have Taylor. All these people talked about hunting and gathering societies also. If you can connect this topic with this thought, half the job is done. Then you should get examples for these hunting and gathering societies. Third, is it anyway relevant to, even if it's paper 1 also, I suggest you to write at least some 2 to 3 lines how it is relevant to India as well. So whether hunting and gathering societies are existing in India, in which part it is existing, all this. And also you write your answer in a systematic manner. Suppose hunting and gathering, write about their society, their culture, like population and all, like examples, case studies. So you put the headings and write content in those headings. So after writing all these papers, get it evaluated. So see whether you are writing the proper answers or not. If you are committing any mistakes when it comes to theory and all, so it gives a very bad impression in the beginning itself. In the beginning itself, you are connecting it with the thought. If there is some mistake, then the examiner will immediately can get, okay, he has some problem with his understanding of the anthropological thought and all that. So this understanding of anthropological thought is important, and connecting it with the question is important. So these mistakes at least you should not commit when it comes to anthropology. So this is how you have to deal with the paper 1 of anthropology. Like you read the syllabus, you write the answers, you get them evaluated and see where you are committing mistakes, and don't commit those mistakes in the next test paper. So this is how you should improve. And when it comes to paper 2, the strategy is again similar. In paper 2, the most important thing is application. So all this theory and thought, these should be applied to India as well. So if there is some question on Indian culture or something, you should again connect it with the thought. And you should develop the relevant content for India. Got it? Suppose, and also in this there is chapter 4th I get, it deals with Indian anthropologists like who have contributed, and some foreign anthropologists also who have contributed for the development, like we have Verrier, Elvin, Heimendorf and all those people. You should read about those people clearly. If you can understand like what their studies are when it comes to in India, then you can understand the topic clearly. Suppose if there is some question on isolation and assimilation, there are few anthropologists who talks about this isolation and assimilation. Suppose there is this Verrier Elvin, he talks about isolation, and also Heimendorf, initially he talks about isolation, then he talks about assimilation, and again there is this Thakkar Baba, he talks about assimilation and all those people. So if you can understand about the anthropologists and what their studies, you can address the questions also. And also if the question is particularly on the Heimendorf, you can address that as well, because you know completely what he has done. So this is the strategy for paper 2. The most important chapters in entire anthropology is chapter 6 from paper 1, chapter 4 from paper 2. Then the third thing is writing the answers systematically and getting them evaluated. These are the 4 things that you have to do when it comes to anthropology. Syllabus, everyone will cover syllabus, I am sure about that. The problem comes in writing answers, that to relevant content, and not committing mistakes, connecting it to the theory part and all those things. If you can do that, you can easily able to get more, at least 300 marks or at least close to that. Any doubts regarding this anthro paper 1 and 2? From where to cover and how to write answers? It's time, it's very difficult to answer, because the problem is like time constraint is there for everyone. Even I faced time constraint, and it's very difficult to finish the entire syllabus, be it general studies or be it anthro and everything. It's very difficult to finish the entire syllabus. Even on the day of examination also, we somehow at the back of the mind, I did not finish the syllabus, and all these things will be there. The only thing that you have to do is you should be courageous enough to take that first step and should write the paper. Be it prelims, if you are not able to like finish Indian polity Lakshmikant, still don't take a back step. You try to attempt that paper and see where you are lagging behind. If it's anthro, if you are like not sure about the syllabus and all that, if you have somewhere you are frightened or like terrified regarding the syllabus and all that, like I am yet to finish this part and yet to finish and all that. So don't allow these things to come into your mind. You go to the hall and you give the exam. Only by writing the examinations you can able to identify the mistakes that you are committing. That will help you in enabling yourself to write better answers. So don't fear at all. You just go and give the exam. Even if you are not prepared also, you just go and give the exam. That will help you a lot. So in a way your answer writing will improve. And also if you can show that paper to someone, they will give you some suggestions as to what to do and all that. That will be helpful. So when I have written my first anthropology test paper, I remember I used to write very vague answers. I know the content, but I did not connect it to the theory part. This is one mistake I did. And second thing, it's not structurally organized. So that is one area where I was lagging behind. And in my conclusions also, those are some abrupt conclusions that I used to make. But once I started writing and get those test papers evaluated by Vishnu sir, like he suggested me how to connect it with the topic, that I did. Second thing, I structured my answer according to the demand of the question. And third thing, I could able to write some relevant conclusions also. That will help. If you can do these things properly, you will automatically get marks along. Also some examples also, some recent examples that are happening in India. If you can able to do that, that will fetch you marks. For instance, there is this one question called ethno-archaeology and all that. There is this news article like some organization, it is conducting studies on Bhimbetka and trying to develop some ethno-archaeology, something. That example was there in newspapers. If you can able to bring that example and put it in that answer, it will fetch you 1 mark more at least when it compared to your rivals and all that. So current affairs anyway you are covering for prelims. So if you can use those current affairs in your mains answers, that will fetch you additional marks. Some material is already available, like Vishnu sir material is already there. Some toppers material is already there. Some textbooks are already there. So these things are already there. If you are copying something from these and putting it in your notes, that is like duplication of efforts. It will unnecessarily waste your time. It won't fetch you any benefit at all. So in your notes, you should emphasize more on structure of answer. Suppose if you are making notes for any topic from paper 2, tribal. So tribal is very simple, yeah. So this is the tribal. You focus on different dimensions of tribals. This is health, education, land alienation, and all those topics, and write some relevant points for this. So whatever may be some case studies of land alienation, some case studies on education, some case studies on their poor health, and all those. If you have this content, whatever may be the question, if it is on your education, you can write the answer. If it is on health, you can write the answer. If it's on land alienation, you can write. If it is a general answer like what are the problems of tribals, you can write all these things. And also institutions. There are different tribal institutions are there. One is ITDA, National Commission for STs. There is Archaeological Survey of India. There are so many institutions. If you can prepare 1-page material for all these institutions, suppose ITDA. What is ITDA? Why they are established? What are the prime objectives of ITDA? What are the schemes that are run by ITDA? So what are the challenges that ITDA is facing? So it should be structural. What is it? When is it formed? Why is it formed? What is the purpose of it? What are the things that it is doing? What are the challenges that ITDA is facing? What is the government? What is the support that ITDAs are getting from the government? And suggestions. You have already Kaka committee report. This committee has really done very good job. So if you can read this committee and if you can identify points related to each and every topic, that will help you a lot. And see what Kaka committee has suggested when it comes to ITDA and all that. So your material for ITDA is done, ready. It's readily available. So you have different subheadings. Under that you have covered entire ITDA. Similarly, you prepare notes for National Commission for ST. So it's hardly 2-page notes. What is National Commission for STs? When it was formed? Why it is formed? What's the purpose of National Commission for ST? So what are the things National Commission for ST is doing? What are the challenges it is facing? Issues with ST? and what the government is doing and what should be done. This is done. ITD is done. Archaeological survey. So for all these institutions, you prepare some material of 1 page or 2 page. Similarly, for tribals, you prepare some broad 1 page, 2 page. On education, some 1 page, 2 page notes. Health, 1 page, 2 page. This. So in a way, if you prepare 1.5 page notes, so this is sufficient you to write any answer. If some random question is appearing in exam, some tribal related problems, you can write all those things. You can write all these things. You can write in everything. These are the institutions, and also you prepare some notes on schemes. All the tribal related schemes, you divide them. Social, economic related, and if there are any other, some political related. So all these things you write. In this also Ministry of Tribal Affairs is there. Its material is also available. And also there are so many schemes, Van Bandhu, Kalyan Yojana and all those schemes. So all these schemes you should cover. And also this organization ITD, it is implementing so many schemes for the tribals. So all those schemes are there. So if you have at least some idea about what these schemes are, what are the institutions, what are the basic challenges, and also some case study. For land alienation, there are so many case studies that are available. So there is this land alienation that happened in Achaknama, some tiger reserve is there. Amarkantak, it's some Chhattisgarh border, that you can refer to. And also in Kaval tiger reserve also. There are so many case studies that are available. If you can note the points, at least some 3-4 points about that topic, that will help you in exam. So your answers should be structured. Your answers should be structured, and also you should have the content. The content is more important than preparing. If you have this content, you can address any questions, literally any question you can address. So you should focus on those things. And also one more thing that I forgot. So when you are writing an answer, your answer should contain at least few things. These are the 6-7 things that I suggest you to note down. So one is, for content, how to get the content. One, anyway you will read newspapers and all that, you will get the content from there. One is facts that you will get. Second is examples and case studies, examples and case studies. Next is data. If you pick up some data, that will fetch you a lot. Like I generally give this example. In India, we have 2.4% of the land area, whole world. We got some 4% of water, I guess, of all the total fresh water. But 18% of the world population is in India, and 18% of the cattle population is in India. So if you have this data, you can use it in many places. For instance, if the population is on land alienation, or if it's about land fragmentation and all that, you can show this data. 1% population, this much of 1%, 2.4% land area, 18% of world population, cattle population are dependent. So this is leading to land fragmentation, and also population is also increasing. All that you can quote that. So if it's about water stress, 2.4% of land area, just 4% of water, 18% of population and cattle population. If you can relate this 4% to 18, that will show how much is the imbalance. So that you can use for water stress also. These are small minute data which you can use to your advantage if you have clarity on how to use them. So data is relevant. Case studies and examples. Next is committees. Committees, and 4-5 important suggestions of those committees are sufficient. Ashok Dalwai committee, Shekatkar committee, some Vijay Kelkar committee. You refer to 4-5 important suggestions of that committee. And structuring. Structuring, examples, case studies, committee, important suggestions of those committee, and if possible Supreme Court important judgments related to that committee. Related to the topic. If some Supreme Court judgment or something is available, you can put that also. These strategy is helpful for even Anthro also. Anthro, same case studies, same examples. If there is some committee is already there, suggestions are already available. If some land alienation, something, some Supreme Court judgment or something will be having, you can put that judgment as well. And also anyway introduction, you are getting it from directly from the theory, you are connecting it to the anthropological thought or some Indian anthropologist who has done some study. So if your answer is containing all these small things, that will enhance the quality of your answer. That will fetch you additional marks when compared to your competitors. So this is how you have to write answers.